Why do you overthink, even when you know it's not helping? You replay conversations, analyze decisions, and imagine different outcomes, but instead of clarity, you feel more confused and more anxious. And this is not just a habit, it is a pattern created by how your brain processes uncertainty, threat, and control. Overthinking is not simply thinking too much. It is a loop formed by interaction between multiple brain systems, and once this loop is established, your brain keeps running it automatically. Let's start with the default mode network, or DMN. The DMN is a large-scale brain network that becomes active when you are not focused on the external world, and it is responsible for self-referential thinking, memory recall, and future simulation, meaning it allows you to reflect on yourself and imagine possible scenarios. This is useful, but when the DMN becomes overactive, it shifts from reflection to rumination, which is repetitive, unresolved thinking, and this is one of the core features of overthinking. Now let's add emotional processing. The amygdala detects threat and uncertainty, and it does not only respond to physical danger, but also to social, emotional, and imagined threats, meaning that even thinking about a possible negative outcome can activate the same system. When the amygdala is activated, it increases vigilance and signals that something needs attention, and your brain responds by generating more thoughts in an attempt to solve the perceived problem. Now bring in the prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is responsible for reasoning, evaluation, and decision-making, and under normal conditions, it helps regulate emotional responses and resolve problems. But when a situation has no clear answer, the prefrontal cortex continues to search for solutions, and because it cannot find certainty, it keeps generating new possibilities, increasing cognitive load and sustaining the loop. Now consider the interaction between these systems. The amygdala signals that something is wrong, the DMN generates scenarios and memories, and the prefrontal cortex analyzes those scenarios, but without resolution, the system feeds back into itself. This creates a rumination loop. Now add physiology. When you imagine negative outcomes, your body responds with stress activation, increasing cortisol and sympathetic nervous system activity, which raises heart rate and tension. And your brain interprets these physical signals as confirmation that something is wrong. This is known as interoceptive feedback. Your body reinforces your thoughts, and your thoughts reinforce your body, creating a closed loop between cognition and physiology. Now let's add predictive processing. Your brain is constantly trying to predict the future, and it prefers certainty over uncertainty, because uncertainty is metabolically and psychologically costly. Overthinking is often an attempt to reduce uncertainty by generating more predictions, but because many situations cannot be predicted with precision, this process never resolves. Instead, it increases perceived risk. Now let's move to psychology. One major driver of overthinking is intolerance of uncertainty. Some individuals have a lower threshold for uncertainty, meaning their brain reacts more strongly to situations where outcomes are unclear, and this leads to increased analysis in an attempt to regain control. Another factor is perfectionism. When your brain believes that decisions must be optimal, it expands the search space, evaluating more options, more outcomes, and more risks, which increases cognitive load and delays action. This is sometimes called analysis paralysis. Now consider cognitive biases. The brain has a negativity bias, meaning it gives more weight to potential negative outcomes than positive ones. And this bias amplifies threat perception, making worst-case scenarios feel more likely than they are. This feeds directly into overthinking loops. Now add metacognition. Metacognition is thinking about thinking. And in overthinking, people often become aware of their thoughts and try to control them, but this effort increases attention to the thoughts, which paradoxically makes them stronger. Trying to stop thinking can actually increase thinking. Now let's connect everything. The DMN generates thoughts, the amygdala signals threat, the prefrontal cortex analyzes, stress responses reinforce the loop, predictive systems seek certainty, and psychological traits like perfectionism and intolerance of uncertainty amplify the process. Together, these create a self-sustaining system. Now think about real life. You send a message and don't get a reply. Your brain interprets uncertainty as potential threat. The amygdala activates. The DMN generates scenarios, and the prefrontal cortex analyzes each possibility, increasing cognitive load and emotional intensity. Your body reacts, which reinforces the idea that something is wrong, and the loop continues. Now, here's the key insight. Overthinking is not problem solving. It is an attempt to regulate emotion and reduce uncertainty using cognition. But because the problem is not purely cognitive, thinking alone cannot resolve it. So, what can you do? First, shift from abstract thinking to concrete action. Engage in tasks that require sensory input or physical movement, because this reduces DMN activity and increases task-positive network activation. Second, set boundaries on analysis. Limit how long you allow yourself to think about a problem, because unlimited analysis increases loop duration. Third, reduce physiological arousal. Breathing, movement, and relaxation techniques reduce amygdala activation, which lowers the need for further thinking. Fourth, accept uncertainty. From a predictive processing perspective, reducing the need for perfect certainty decreases the drive for continuous analysis. Fifth, externalize thoughts. Writing or speaking moves thoughts out of internal loops and reduces cognitive load. And finally, take action. Even small actions create real feedback, which updates predictions and breaks the loop. Because your brain does not need more thoughts. It needs new information. And new information comes from action, not analysis. Overthinking is not a sign that you are thoughtful. It is a sign that your brain is stuck in a loop. And once you understand the loop, you can interrupt it. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Nexplain